Let me share a glimpse into my life and how I've remained true to myself despite enduring persistent criticisms from my ex-husband, FY, and my mother-in-law, Susan. I'm Daphne, a 32-year-old woman proud of my career in pottery projects. It's unconventional, certainly not the typical 9 to 5 job, but it's my passion, and I adore what I do. While I may not swim in riches like some of my peers, I found success in my niche, and that's what truly matters to me. Fi and Susan, however, never quite grasped the significance of my work. They dismissed it as childish and not a real job, whatever that means. Their disparaging remarks about my passion were disheartening, yet I remained steadfast. Pottery projects weren't merely a means of employment. They were my art, my form of self-expression, and I took immense pride in crafting unique pieces. Unfortunately, FY and Susan failed to recognize this. They believed I should pursue something more conventional and respectable. The situation was compounded by Susan's physical disability, which necessitated her living with us. While I tried to be understanding and accommodating, it was challenging when she constantly judged my choices, leaving me feeling inadequate. Phi, my husband, wasn't much better. He frequently compared my career to those of my friends, highlighting their high-paying professions and contrasting them with my playing around with clay. It was painful to hear him diminish my passion in such a manner. In a recent conversation with my friends, the topic of their wives' careers arose. Phi remarked, "I was talking to some of my friends the other day, and they were talking about their wives and their careers." Curious, I inquired, "Oh yeah, what were they saying?" He hesitated before responding. "Well, most of their wives have these high-paying jobs and successful careers. It's got me thinking about us." Puzzled, I asked, "What do you mean?" He stumbled, compared to them, your career is a bit, well, odd, working with pottery and all that. It's not exactly the typical high-paying job. Feeling stung, I questioned, "Are you saying that my job is less valuable just because it doesn't make as much money?" He backtracked, No, that's not what I meant. I'm proud of you and what you've achieved. It's just that sometimes I wish you had a more conventional job. His words cut deep. "So you're saying that you'd rather?" I relinquished my passion and embraced something I didn't love just to conform to your notion of a perfect spouse. I yearned for people to recognize your greatness without judging you based on your occupation. Yet it's you, Fury, who's critical. You're the one ashamed of my career. I long for others to perceive it as I do. His feeble attempt at an apology or feigned support was transparent, yet foolishly, I brushed it aside at the time. I regret that decision because I later uncovered his true feelings. One evening, as I completed a particularly intricate pottery piece, I overheard FY and Susan conversing in subdued tones in the living room. Despite their attempt to whisper, their words pierced through. Phi chuckled. "Can you believe she spends all day playing with clay? Come on. That's not a real job." Susan chimed in, "I know, right? It's like she's stuck in some child's playtime while the rest of us are out there making a real living." Their words cut deep, and my heart sank. I knew they failed to grasp the depth of my passion, but to hear them diminish my profession behind my back wounded me more profoundly than I anticipated. Summoning courage, I entered the living room and addressed them directly. "Hey, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. I just want to remind you that pottery projects are my career, and it means a lot to me. It might not conform to the traditional 9 to 5, but it's what I love doing." Fi appeared taken aback, and Susan attempted to backtrack. "Oh, sweetie, we didn't mean to offend you. It's just that we worry about your future and financial security." I shook my head, endeavoring to maintain composure. "I appreciate your concern, but I'm thriving in my field. My work is gaining recognition, and I'm proud of my accomplishments. I wish you could see that." Fury appeared uneasy as he responded, "Look, Daphne, we just want what's best for you. We're not trying to put you down, but we worry about the stability of your job." Sighing, I felt a mix of frustration and hurt. "I understand, but it's my passion, and I'm willing to take the risks." I've worked hard to get where I am, and I won't let your doubts hold me back. Susan chimed in. We're just looking out for you, dear. It's not that we don't support you, but we want to see you thrive in a more traditional career. Their concern was appreciated, yet it was evident they didn't fully grasp my passion. Instead of prolonging the argument, I opted to let my success speak for itself. In the ensuing months, as my pottery projects garnered more recognition and invitations to showcase my work in art exhibitions poured in, I noticed a shift in Fury and Susan's attitudes. They began to acknowledge my talent, though their support still felt tentative. I understood I couldn't entirely alter their perspectives, but I hoped with time they would come to comprehend and respect my career choice. Despite their negativity, I remained undeterred. I loved my job, and that was paramount. Knowing I excelled in my craft and had earned the respect of my colleagues and clients provided all the validation I needed. Whenever they made snide comments, I would simply smile and brush off their comments. I understood that they didn't grasp my passion, and that was okay. I didn't require their validation to find happiness. What's even more remarkable is that my pottery projects began to gain significant recognition. I started being featured in magazines and art exhibitions. My unique style and authentic approach to my work were finally receiving the attention they deserved. Of course, FY and Susan couldn't ignore the success indefinitely. While they might not have fully appreciated my work, they couldn't deny that it was bringing in revenue. Money seemed to be the only aspect that somewhat eased their concerns about my career choice. As the years passed, I continued to thrive in my field. I learned to tune out their negative comments and focus on what truly mattered, my passion and happiness. It wasn't always easy, but I was determined to remain true to myself. Through the ups and downs, my dedication and hard work paid off. I carved out a niche for myself in the pottery world, and I couldn't have been prouder. Then came the moment when all my hard work and dedication bore fruit. After securing a major investor interested in my pottery, I was ecstatic. The investor offered to pay me $33,000 a week for my work, a substantial sum. Bursting with excitement, I couldn't wait to share the news with FI and Susan, expecting them to finally acknowledge and appreciate my accomplishments. Upon arriving home, I eagerly began to share the news, but before I could finish, they interjected. Hey guys, you won't believe what happened today. I got a big break in my pottery career, I explained. Their response was immediate. Oh right, that investor guy. What happened? FI questioned. He said he'd pay me $33,000, I replied. $3,000? That can't be right, Susan chimed in. No, $33,000, I clarified. $3,000 as a salary is a joke, Daphne. How ridiculous, FI scoffed. It's not a joke. Pottery is my passion, and this investor sees the value in my art. It's a real opportunity for me, I insisted. A real opportunity? Come on, Daphne, this is ridiculous. You need to be realistic. You'll never make it big with pottery, Susan asserted. Their dismissal and attempts to diminish my accomplishments grated on my nerves. For some reason, they refused to listen to me. When I attempted to share that I'd be making $3,000 per week, they repeatedly interrupted me. However, now that I had captured their attention, I was eager to hear their reactions. They assumed it was my monthly or yearly salary, and the response was far from impressed. They began shouting, declaring my job as stupid and useless. It felt like a blow to the gut. It's not about making it big or being rich. I love what I do, and this offer means I can sustain myself doing what I'm passionate about, I explained. Sustain yourself? You're 32, Daphne. It's time to grow up and get a real job, not some childish pottery nonsense, they retorted. It's not childish nonsense. Pottery is a legitimate career, and I've worked hard to get to where I am. Why can't you just support me? I pleaded. Because we know better, Daphne. You're wasting your time and talent on something that will never work out, they insisted. This is my passion, my dream. I thought you both would be happy for me, but all you do is belittle my work, I lamented. Your work will never be enough. You should have focused on something more practical and profitable, they countered. This is my life, and I won't let you two dictate what I should do. I'm proud of my career, and I won't let your negativity bring me down, I asserted. Well, good luck with your little pottery fantasy, but don't come crying to us when it all falls apart, they dismissed. As they continued, they spoke about how they had to be honest about where our relationship stood now that I wasn't making substantial money. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. All this time, they never truly appreciated the hard work I put in or how much I loved what I did. I felt unappreciated and hurt. I just wanted them to understand and support me, but instead, they were just focused on the money and couldn't see the passion and fulfillment my work brought me. I reflected. Then they said something that would stay with me forever. Fefai and Susan expressed that they didn't care about our relationship anymore because I might not make as much money as they expected. It was as if they were putting a price tag on our marriage. Look, Daphne, we've been thinking about this for a while now. If you're not going to be making the money we thought, then there's no real reason for us to stay together. They declared, that's right. We can't be associated with someone who's going to be struggling financially. It's just not acceptable, they concluded. To say I was shocked would be an understatement. Are you serious? You want a divorce just because of money? I exclaimed, disbelief evident in my voice. It's not just about money, but it's a big part of it. I've been wanting a divorce for a while, but I thought your income would at least make things easier for me financially, Fi confessed, his tone unapologetic. I can't believe you're doing this. I thought we had a real connection, a real relationship. I protested, the hurt palpable in my words. Well, relationships change, Daphne. And if you can't provide the lifestyle we want, then there's no point in staying together. Susan interjected, her voice matter-of-fact. So it was all about money for you too. You never really cared about me, just what I could bring to the table. I realized, feeling a mix of betrayal and anger. I mean, it's not the only factor, but it's a significant one, Fy admitted, his words stinging like a slap to the face. I can't believe I married someone who values money more than love and connection. I'm disgusted, I retorted, struggling to contain my emotions. Love doesn't pay the bills, Daphne. You'll understand that one day, Susan remarked, her tone condescending. Well, I'd rather have love and passion for my work than a marriage based on materialism and greed, I declared, my resolve firm. Fine, have it your way. I'll file for divorce, and we can all move on with our lives. Fi concluded, his tone final as he and Susan left the room. As they departed, I felt a whirlwind of emotions, hurt, anger, heartbreak, but also a sense of relief. I realized that I deserved better than to be with someone who only cared about money and didn't appreciate me for who I truly was. It was time for me to focus on my career and my passion and surround myself with people who genuinely valued and supported me. As painful as it was, this divorce was a chance for me to embrace my authentic self and find happiness on my own terms. After leaving the house, I experienced a mix of emotions, hurt, anger, and relief. Fi and Susan seemed somewhat embarrassed and guilty for how they treated me, but it was too late to take back their words. The damage was done, and I was ready to move on. I called up my lawyer friend right away to speed up the divorce process. I was eager to liberate myself from Fury and his toxic mom as soon as possible. Fortunately, we both reached an agreement for a mutual divorce with no alimony involved. The surprise on Fi and Susan's faces was priceless when they realized I wouldn't be left destitute without their financial support. So there we sat in the lawyer's office, poised to sign the divorce papers. Fi and Susan appeared overly pleased with themselves, as if they were finally shedding the burden of my supposed craziness. Their smugness didn't faze me. In fact, I had a delightful surprise in store for them once the papers were signed. As soon as I finished signing, they jumped for joy, celebrating their newfound freedom from what they termed as my antics and stupid drama. Oh, thank goodness, no more dealing with her and her weird pottery stuff, Susan remarked, her relief palpable. You both seem really happy about this divorce, I observed dryly. Well, wouldn't you be? Now we can move on with our lives without your eccentricities, Fi retorted. Well, I guess the feeling is mutual, I replied calmly. Please, don't try to act like you don't need us, especially now that you're broke, Susan taunted. Trust me, I'm more than happy to be rid of you two clowns, I shot back. How rude, Susan exclaimed. Maybe, but I don't mind being rude to people who are beneath me, Fi added haughtily. Beneath me? What are you, stupid and deaf? I retorted sharply. For starters, I've got some pretty exciting news. You see, that night when I told you I'd be making $3,000, you didn't let me finish my sentence. I'll be making $3,000 per week. Fi and Susan's jaws practically hit the floor as they realized the magnitude of their mistake. The kind of money I'd be making could afford me a whole new life and easily cover Susan's medical expenses. It was a true make-drop moment, and I couldn't help but savor the shock on their faces. Wait, $3,000 a week. Are you serious? I stuttered. Yep, dead serious. But we thought you were going to be poor without us, Susan stammered. You both seem to have a habit of underestimating me, I remarked with a smirk. I didn't mean, it's just that pottery, it's not a stable career. Fi stumbled over his words. Pottery is my passion, and I've turned it into a successful business. Guess you missed that part, I remarked pointedly. We didn't realize. You never took the time to understand or appreciate my work. You were too busy belittling it, I added. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just thought. Fi attempted to explain. You thought wrong. You both thought wrong about a lot of things, Daphne, I interjected firmly. You were worried that your precious image would be tarnished by having a wife with a strange career. Well, guess what? You lost more than just a wife and a daughter-in-law today. Good luck paying all those medical bills without me, Daphne. I saved it. It's too late now. I've moved on, and I'm happier without both of you in my life. Both of you are pathetic. Fury and Susan exchanged glances, their expressions tinged with regret for their actions. But I had already made up my mind. Even if I changed it, the divorce papers were already signed. That was the sweet part of it all. Both Fury and Susan had to accept the fact that they threw away a good woman. I stood up, ready to face my new life without them. Susan made a feeble attempt at crying, perhaps hoping to gain sympathy. It was actually quite amusing. I couldn't help but laugh right in their faces, fascinated by how cruelty can lead to outright stupidity. As I walked out of that office, I held my head high, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. I was ready to embrace my new life, one where I wouldn't be dragged down by their negativity. And you know what? Life without Fury and Susan turned out to be pretty amazing. I focused on my pottery work, pouring my heart and soul into it. And you know what they say? Do what you love, and the money will follow. Well, it sure did for me. My pottery project started gaining traction, and I began attracting more clients. That $3,000 per week turned out to be just the beginning. I was earning even more than that, and I was damn proud of it. I moved into a cozy little apartment, and I finally felt at peace. I surrounded myself with supportive friends who appreciated my work and encouraged me to keep going. Meanwhile, Fury and Susan were left to deal with the consequences of their actions. I heard through the grapevine that Fury's finances took a hit because he squandered it on some shady business deals. I guess he was trying to get rich quickly, and it didn't pay off. The sad part was that Susan was struggling with her medical bills. Part of me wanted to feel some satisfaction in their misfortune, but I realized that I had moved on from all that drama. I was too busy building my own happiness to waste any more energy on them. So the moral of the story is, don't judge a book by its cover. Just because someone's career doesn't fit your idea of success doesn't mean they aren't thriving. And sometimes the people who look down on you end up eating their words. Life is too short to be weighed down by toxic people. Find your passion, embrace it, and surround yourself with those who uplift and support you. Trust me, It's a recipe for happiness and success.